We all wish for a positive future for ourselves, our family, our children, and our community. How about a mindful future that benefits us and the planet? Hi, I'm Anne Marie Emanuele, Creative Director and founder of Mindful Frontiers, an education-based meditation center. Vipassana meditation instruction is my life path, and I believe it's important for families to practice mindfulness together. In this podcast, Welcoming a Mindful Future, I will be sharing easy and accessible mindfulness practices that you can do in your family, no matter the age of your children. Join me and learn how to bring mindfulness meditation into your daily routine. Thanks for being here, and listen up for the next episode. Welcoming a Mindful Future is a podcast by Mindful Frontiers, an education-based meditation center located in northern New Mexico. We offer mindfulness and meditation workshops, classes, coaching, and instruction for children, parents, families, classrooms, and individuals. We believe that mindfulness is an important part of welcoming a positive future for ourselves, our communities, and our world. These podcasts are shared freely, and your support helps Mindful Frontiers reach a wider audience. Thank you for your generous donation through this podcast platform. Hi, everyone. This is Anne Marie from Mindful Frontiers with another episode of Welcoming a Mindful Future. So today I'd like to share with you a practice that I really enjoy. It's called Tonglen. That's spelled Tongglen. It's a practice for awakening compassion. And I believe that children have an innate capacity for generating kindness towards others. So this is one of my favorite practices, and a well-known teacher of this practice is Buddhist monk and teacher Pema Chodron. So the word Tonglen comes from Tibetan language and translates as giving and taking. Tong, T-O-N-G, means giving or sending, and Len means receiving or taking. Pema explains that in Tonglen practice, we visualize taking in the pain of others with every in-breath and sending out whatever benefit they may get on the out-breath. In the process, we begin to feel love for both ourselves and others. We begin to take care of ourselves and others as well. So in basic terms, Tonglen meditation uses visualization and breath focus to transform negative energy into positive. So I first learned about Tonglen during a meditation leader program at Sage Institute for Creativity and Consciousness, from which I graduated in 2021. I was so intrigued with the idea that in Tonglen that we can take in the suffering of others and through meditation send it back out, transformed through compassion. So I wrote a paper about comparing the practice of Tonglen to the heart language found in poetry. That would be the subject of another episode of this podcast. But historically, Tonglen originated in India and was brought to Tibet around the 11th century as a way to help those who were suffering from serious diseases and also so people might heal themselves so they could continue to help others. Tonglen is similar to loving kindness or metta in that we are using the transformative power of the heart to channel healing. Although the overall intention of these practices are similar, Tonglen is different in that we actually welcome suffering into our heart. We feel the pain and sadness before allowing the heart to feel compassion and extending it outward into the world. Compassion is not the same as empathy. A working definition of compassion says it is the feeling that arises when you are confronted with another's suffering and feel motivated to relieve that suffering. Empathy is the ability to sense other people's emotions, coupled with the ability to imagine what someone else might be thinking or feeling. So we can understand the subtle difference to be that empathy is an ability to understand another's emotions, whereas with compassion, we also desire to relieve their suffering. Pema explains the compassion practice further. Usually, she says, we look away when we see someone suffering. Their pain brings up our fear or anger. It brings up our resistance and confusion. So we can also do Tonglen for all the people just like ourselves, all those who wish to be compassionate but instead are afraid, who wish to be brave but instead are cowardly. Rather than beating ourselves up, we can use our personal stuckness as a stepping stone to understanding what people are up against all over the world. Breathe in for all of us and breathe out for all of us. She continues to say that we can use our personal suffering as the path to compassion for all beings. I'd like to share with you a short Tonglen practice that can be offered for those who are ill, those who are dying or have already passed, or those people in pain of any kind. Although this is a shortened version, just know that Tonglen is traditionally a much longer and extended meditation practice. So let's get ourselves ready for a practice together. This is a practice that is good for families and groups as well as individually. If you have very young children, you can invite them to draw during this practice and to use their creativity to channel compassion for themselves and others. So beginning in and sitting in silence and stillness, we close our eyes. We generate open awareness as we watch the breath go in and out of the body. Inviting the desire as we breathe to fully awaken to compassion. Let's bring our attention to the heart and welcome feelings of love. This could be in the form of a golden light in your heart, an image of the Buddha, or any feel-good being, or maybe even just an overall feeling of warmth. And if it's comfortable and works for you, you may also choose to place your hands on your heart. Let's now visualize a person's suffering using the breath and sensations. As we breathe in and out, we welcome an awareness of our suffering or someone else's suffering. We name the suffering: sadness, grief, pain. And we see the situation as it is in as much detail as you wish. Next step And this practice is receiving and taking in the suffering. So as we focus on the situation, we see an image of the person suffering. We've already named what it is they are suffering from. And now we use the in-breath to receive the image. And with the out-breath, we actually see it transforming into something more positive. You may try using smoke, changing into a healing white light. You can also see the person as being in pain and then visualizing their face turning into a smile. And as we do this, we recite several times this phrase: may this pain and suffering be released. May this pain and suffering be released. The next step in this practice is expanding compassion by extending it out to all who are in the same situation. So using the same in and out breath practice that we just practiced, visualize and welcome an awareness of others or a general all who feel the same kind of suffering. Maybe we simply acknowledge that there are many people suffering in the same way as the person we just visualized. We take several in and out breaths and we offer them the mantra: may this pain and suffering be released. Breathing in, noticing, visualizing all who may have this pain and suffering. And on the out breath, we recite the mantra: may this pain and suffering be released. And we may also visualize something in our heart transforming in maybe a color, a light, their face turning into a smile, or like a whole community, what that might feel like to have them smiling. We can continue this practice with others in our life and do the same 2 steps of visualizing them, naming their pain and suffering, wishing them the release of pain and suffering, and then expanding that, bringing that to the whole world. And we can do this type of receiving and taking and expanding using the mantra for as long as it seems we have time for or that is comfortable for us. And when we're ready to conclude the practice, we just sit in silence for several more breaths, enjoying the feeling of release and transformation. And we recite the final mantra, which is, may all beings be well and live with ease. Let's sit for just a few more seconds in silence, reciting that final mantra. May all beings be well and live with ease. Breathing in and breathing out. When you're ready, you may open your eyes slowly, bringing awareness back to the space you're in, noticing your surroundings and sensations that are present within you, within your body. And thank you for sharing this practice with me, learning about the benefits of Tonglen compassion meditation. I'd like to encourage you to do this practice as often as you can, and know that meditation is a practice, and to reap the most positive benefits, it does need to be done as regularly as we can. And I invite you and encourage you to do this daily.